Hey guys, it's me Mr. 250 and welcome back to Steins Gate 0. We left off after a fairly sad exchange between Ocarina and Suzuha, where he pretty much said he does not want to use the time machine. He's seen far too many bad things occur from it, and he's done. And it's especially interesting because when I first watched the anime before I played the visual novel, he hints at, this idea that he's been on so many time leaps over and over and over again. And he's tried so hard to change things and nothing ever changes. But they don't ever flesh it out, but they do actually flesh it out, and you see more of it through the visual novel, which kind of iterates that point a bit better, even if it is a bit long-winded. I think you go through that day like 2 or 3 times. It's almost too much, but it does really help to push that point forward. But it is almost too much. It's almost really annoying. Anyway, left off with Mr. Newscaster guy here, telling us about something that may or may not be relevant to the story at all.
ただ、この新型脳炎は潜伏期間が長いことから、すでに国内に上陸している可能性も否定できないとして、感染症法に基づき、全国の医療機関に対して新型脳炎対策と感染症発生動向の速やかな調査を指示しました。ここからはお茶の水医科大学の春山倉庫教授にお話を伺います。
Seems like it might be important. It's going on for a bit.
春山さん、この新型の脳炎というのは具体的にはどのような症状が出るものなのでしょうか。
新型脳炎は感染力は弱いのですが、潜伏期間が長く突然発症します。症状としては幻覚や記憶障害が主ですね。
Oh, like Mayuri's friend who had the hallucinations of Mayuri. What was it? Mayuri dying. I wonder if that's happening to people because of all the time leaps and all the stuff that Ocarina did. He did very little scientific research on that. It's kind of hard to do scientific research on a world that's constantly changing around you, with your mind being the only constant between them. So I'm sure. I mean, I don't know quite how it would work, but I feel like there'd probably be some repercussions if something like this did occur. It's interesting.
例えば、そうですね。会社で仕事をしていたはずなのに、気がつくと家にいたり、
Or your friend dying in front of a
会ったことの
train.
ない人に会った記憶があるというような症例が報告されています。あとは実際には発生していない事件が起こった覚えがあるなどといった記憶の混乱も現れているようです。夢と現実の区別ができなくなったり、時間感覚を失ったり、周りの人と記憶が一致しなくなるので錯乱状態に陥ったり、いわゆる寝ぼけているような状態、デジャブのようなものと言えますが、もっと症状がはっきりしています。
See, deja vu is similar, but it's not quite there. The name of a strange sensation in which you feel you've been through a situation before, even if you know you can't possibly have done so. The sensation is strong and realistic enough that it cannot simply be attributed to forgetfulness or imagination. But since you can't remember when or where you experienced it before, it creates a strong feeling of unease. The cause of the sensation is still unknown. One theory says it's the result of an extremely rare but temporal disjunction between the parts of the brain that govern recall and memory. Another theory says that it's the result of a temporary spasm of the hippocampal gyrus. It's a little stronger than that. You don't normally have visions of your friends dying very vividly in front of a train.
治療法についてはいかがでしょう。
他の脳炎と違いまして、適切な治療を受ければ比較的速やかに完治することが分かっています。ですので、もし国内で感染者が出たとしても、それほど恐れることはないと思いますよ。
The reporter was still talking, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. The information I just heard was shocking. Was that shocking? A new kind of encephalitis? I knew the symptoms she was describing. losing the ability to discriminate between dreams and reality, losing the sense of the passage of time. Your memories no longer match those of the people around you. That was exactly the same as reading Steiner. What a nerd. Oh man, I could have gone on just a tiny bit longer. Oh well. Oh, we're back in 1975. So, okay, so this is right after that flashback, flash forward of Suzuha being in the future teleporting away. The interior of the time machine smelled like metal and was covered in instruments of different sizes. The girl inside was sobbing. It'd been almost an hour since Suzuha had left to go look around. She assumed that Kaguri would have stopped crying by then, but she had no such luck.
いつまで泣いてるつもりだ。しっかりしなきゃダメだ。まゆ姉さんの気持ちを考えろ。
Kaguri Shina looked up at Suzuha, her face wet with tears.
だから泣くんじゃない。鬱陶しい。
Suzuha walked over to Kaguri and knelt down, so that they'd be at eye level. She had no intention of spoiling her. Her goal was to save billions of lives, and this was her first mission.
いいか、これからはカガリもワルキューレの一員とみなす。私の部下として扱う。
And this is how child soldiers are born. Valkyrie. Demigoddess from Norse mythology. There are many Valkyries and at least several dozens are given names. They chose who will die on the battlefield and who will be victorious. And they take the souls of those who fought bravely to Valhalla to prepare for the coming Ragnarok. Skuld, one of the three Norns and the goddess of the future, is a Valkyrie.
ここは1975年だ。知ってる人間は誰もいない。父さんもマユ姉さんも出生してない。つまり誰も守ってくれないんだ。自分の身を守るのは自分だけだと思え。いいな。
Kaguri was a brave girl, and she finally realized that now wasn't the time for tears. She tried to stop crying. It wasn't working well, but it was a lot better for her emotions than sobbing. She was a smart girl. Suzuha knew that.
あまり時間がない。この時代の人間にタイムマシンが見つかったら大騒ぎだ。
The machine had landed on the roof of the radio building, which wasn't a spot that people visited often. The chances of anyone finding it were slim. But in this area, they had no one to help them conceal it. That means they couldn't stay long. She needed to finish her mission quickly and move to the next time period.
何か失敗したら、またタイムマシンで時間を戻ればいいんじゃないの？
燃料の問題があるんだ。ジャンプできる回数は無限じゃない。肝心の場面で動作しなかったら話にならない。
そうなんだ。
立てるか？
Suzuha stepped out of the machine and beckoned to Kaguri. Convenient that this building is here. Could you imagine if we jumped back even farther and there was no building? Free fall to the ground and death? Are there airbags on a time machine? Kaguri looked surprised. Her eyes were narrowed at the bright sunlight. The sky above Tokyo in this time period was too dirty to be called blue. Smoke and dust clouds filled with who know what were rising to the rows of smokestacks. Rising from the rows of smokestacks. It all combined with black exhaust from the cars that scurried along the ground to create a smog so thick you could literally see it. The sky above the city was covered by a veil of death. But still, it was the first clear sky that Kaguri had ever seen. She'd only ever known from books and videos that the sky could be this bright. The nuclear weapons used during the Third World War had changed the weather over Tokyo, and their sky was constantly covered in dull gray clouds. The sun's light was always weak when it shone through them, and it was never this bright.
私が子供の頃はまだこんな感じの空だった。少しだけど覚えてるよ。
Suzuha looked up at the sky too.
空気が美味しい。
In 2036, you needed a filter and a mask to go outside for any length of time. Compared to that, 1975 was a lot cleaner.
わかるだろ、かがり。父さんたちがどうして世界線の改変に全てをかけていたのか。世界線がどうとか、歴史がどうとか、そんな理屈は後でいい。今はただ、この空の色を守りたいと思えば。
Kaguri slipped her hand into her pocket and took out the faded green Upa keychain. She stared at it with a sad look on her face. She was probably thinking about Mayuri, her mother. And she was probably trying to understand what it meant that her mother had put her inside the time machine. Suzuha decided that Kaguri was alright now, and closed the hatch in the time machine from the outside. The lock flipped on automatically. The only person who could open it now was Suzuha, whose biometrics had been loaded into the system ahead of time. Even if someone did find the machine, it would be a while before they found out what it was.
かがり、これを見ろ。
Suzuha had handed her a printout of a photo.
これ何？
IBN5100 っていうレトロ PC だ。
Oh yeah, and someone was pointing out to me that in real life it's called the IBM, not the IBN. I don't know, I kind of glossed over that. I thought they always said IBM, but I guess they didn't. It would make sense, you know, copyright and all. IBM 5100, IBM's first portable computer, which went on sale in 1975. The design includes an integrated monitor and keyboard, and while it was described as portable, it weighs almost 25 kilograms. In the 2000s, John Titor revealed that there was a special computer language that could only be used on devices of this type, which was not described in the manual. IBM's developers would later admit that he was correct.
私たちの時代に存在していたものはどれも満足に動かない。けどこの時代なら感動品が入手できる。これを手分けして探すのが私とお前の最初のミッションだ。連絡はこれで。
She handed Kaguri a small transceiver.
通信できる距離はかなり短いらしいから気休め程度だと思え。
オーキードーキー。
90分ごとにこのビルの前に集合。状況を確認。それを繰り返す。いいな。
オーキードーキー。
いい返事だ。
Hopefully she doesn't get kidnapped. Although, then again, does that happen much back in this time period? Suzuha nodded and patted Kaguri on the head.
よし、ミッション開始。
Oh, black square again. Suzuha was on top of the radio building in 2010, looking down.
35年か。
That's how long it had been in real time since she'd spoken to Kaguri here. From her perspective, it had only been a few months. The view from up here had changed a lot since then, and in the next 26 years it would change even more. She'd seen for herself how this building changed over a span of 61 years. The thought didn't make her feel sentimental. Instead, she felt the loneliness and fear that comes from having a past not shared with anyone else. Using the time machine to change the world line means breaking the rules of the universe. Rintaro Okabe's words flashed through her mind. Still lately, she'd been thinking more about Kagari. She'd been searching the city at regular intervals. She was looking for Kagari Shina. She didn't even know if she was in Tokyo. She had no clues. She didn't even know what Kagari looked like now. So maybe it was a waste of time. Even so, she had to find Kagari herself. But she hadn't had any better luck today. She turned around and looked towards the time machine. She would come here every day. Her primary reason for coming was to see if her father, Itaru Hashida, had been here. Anytime she let her guard down, he would come to try and examine it. She told him it would cause a time paradox, but he didn't listen. She needed to keep constant watch. To be honest, she had a lot of things she had to do. And then she heard the metal door to the roof open. Was it her dad? She squinted into the darkness, but the person she saw was much smaller than Itaru, and had cat ears coming out of their head.
にゃにゃ、いたいた。すずにゃん、こんばんはだにゃん。
なんだ、ルミ姉さんか。
Faris Nyan had a spring in her step as she approached Suzuha.
ルミ姉さんって誰のことかにゃ？フェイリス。
ルミ姉さんはルミ姉さんだよ。
Faris's real name was Rumiho Akiha. She was Daru's friend and had helped them in many different ways in 2036. So Suzuha had known her ever since she was very young, and had always called her Big Sis Rumi. So for whatever reason in this era, she always wanted to be called Faris though. When Suzuha asked why, she simply responded, Faris is Faris, an answer which meant nothing to Suzuha.
ラボに誰もいなかったからこっちかなと思ったら正解だったにゃ。はい、差し入れ。余り物で悪いんやけど。
Faris showed her a cake box with the logo from the maid cafe where she worked, May Queen Nyan.
父さんがラボに不在でよかったよ。
If he ate something like this at that hour, he'd get even fatter.
ダルニャンじゃなくてスズニャンへの差し入れにゃ。
私に？なんで？
にゃふふ、好きなくせに。
Faris grinned and nudged Suzuha on the side with her elbow.
私は別に。
アップルタルトにモンブラン。あとイチゴのショートケーキもあるにゃ。
Nyan.
ほら、おいしそうだにゃ。
Faris opened up the box and showed her what was inside. Suzuha could smell the sweet cream and fruit.
さあ、今すぐおいしく食べるといいにゃ。心置きなく食べるといいにゃ。ほら、あんして。そのかわいいお口に食べさせてあげるにゃ。
冷蔵庫にしまって明日食べる。
すずにゃんはストイックにゃ。
Faris laughed and handed over the box.
賞味期限は明日だから明日中に食べなきゃダメにゃぞ。
ありがとう。
どういたしまして。
Faris gave a mischievous wink and looked up at the time machine beside them.
ダルニャンのタイムマシン研究の方はどうかにゃ。
頑張ってはいるみたい。ルミ姉さん、このマシン まだここに置いておいても？
Suzuha looked around the roof as she asked. It was solely thanks to Faris that no one had really noticed the massive object on the roof. She was the heir to a rich family that had a lot of influence in this area, and had contributed a lot to the development of Akihabara. She was helping to hide the time machine.
このフロアというか屋上はフェイリスが借り上げちゃったから平気にゃ。オーナーさんには体感ゲームの研究をしてるって言ってあるにゃ。ちょっと苦しいわけにゃけど。
助かるよ。
気にしないでいいにゃ。この世界のエレメンタルを売薬兵たちの魔の手から救うためなら、フェイリスはいつでも協力するにゃ。
The elementals? What elementals? The four elementals, the four spirits who control the elements of earth, water, fire, and air. Their existence was first proposed by the Swiss alchemist Paracelsus in his book, The Book of Fairies. He described them as beings not dead, like ghosts, but not alive, like humans, and as being spiritual creatures of an extremely nebulous nature. Paracelsus struggled to explain exactly what they were, and in the end decided to classify them as things. He divided them as follows. The element of earth is controlled by pygmies of the mountain, or gnomes. The element of water is controlled by nymphs of the water, or the undine. The element of fire is controlled by the salamanders of the fire, or the Vulcans. The element of air is controlled by the sylphs of the wind, or Sylvestrius. Paracelsus' theory had a huge effect on alchemists and authors both of his own and later generations, who filled in the gaps in his work. In the fantasy genre in particular, elementals have become a mainstay. And Byakuki, winged interstellar creatures that appear in the Cthulhu mythos. They are created by August Derleth, the co-creator of the Cthulhu mythos along with H.P. Lovecraft, and appear in such stories as The House on Kerwin Street. They were described, there's a lot here, they're described as being chimera-like creatures around 3 meters tall, with the wings of a Tricerotar, the legs of an eagle, and the tail like a bee's. Despite their terrifying appearance, they understand human speech, and they feel it's in their best interests. If they feel it's in their best interest, they can even work together with humans. In space, they usually travel at around 1/10 of light speed, but an organ called the Hune in their tail allows them to fly faster than the speed of light. The Byakuhi are supposedly servants of Hastur, the god of shepherds, a creation of Ambrose Bierce, author of the famous Devil's Dictionary. Excuse me while I read tongue twisters.
そう。昔から、いや、今からしたら未来か。思ってたんだけどさ、ルミ姉さんの話って、時々すごく難しくなるんだよね。一体何語？考
えるんじゃない。感じるのにゃ。
いいや。
寒いにゃ。フェイリスはお家に帰ろうかにゃ。
In the end, she could never get an answer. To Suzuha, Faris was always a great mystery.
送っていくよ。一緒に出よう。
にゃ。それじゃあついでにうちでご飯も食べてくといいにゃ。
そういうつもりで言ったわけじゃないんだけど。
どうせ普段大したもの食べてないにゃ。スズニャンのストイックさを見てるとフェイリスがなんとかしてあげにゃきゃーって思っちゃうにゃ。保護欲？母性？とにかくそういうのがかきたてられるのにゃ。
私は大丈夫だから。
Before she finished her sentence, she felt someone looking at her. She glanced around.
にゃ、どうしたのにゃ？
She listened carefully. She definitely heard a very faint sound from the direction of the metal door that led to the stairs. It was small enough that Suzuha was only able to notice it because of her training.
誰かいる？
にゃにゃ。
多分話を聞かれた。
Most of the discussion was worthless, but they talked about the time machine a little. If someone heard that... Suzuha yanked her gun out of her jacket, and in an instant ran towards the stairs as fast as she could. She heard someone running down the stairs as soon as she did. The sound, heavy military boots in a wide stride, got farther and farther away.
早い!
She opened up the door and jumped onto the landing. Then she raced down the stairs, skipping 3 steps with every stride. But still, it wasn't fast enough. Suzuha was born fast, and she'd been trained to be even faster. But it wasn't enough. When she finally made it to the 2nd floor, she could hear the loud revving of a motorcycle. She panicked and slipped on an object that had been left halfway up the stairs, then rolled her way to the bottom. She managed to get into the right position and protect her head so that it was her hips that struck the ground. She forced herself to stand up and run outside. She could see the taillights of a large motorcycle speeding away. The driver was wearing a black helmet and riding suit, and already a good distance away, so she couldn't even tell if they were a man or a woman. They revved their engine loudly as if to mock her, then spun a corner and disappeared onto Center Street. A little later, Faris caught up.
大丈夫かにゃ？
逃げられた。
それ、しまった方がいいにゃ。あ。
She put the gun in her hands back in her jacket holster, and brushed away hair that sweat had stuck to her brow.
今の誰にゃ？
わからない。けど、一般人じゃない。訓練されてる。と思う。
訓練？
階段に何か落ちてなかった？
バッグが転がってたにゃ。
ちょうど死角になる位置だった。多分わざと落としたんだよ。しかも、私がそこを通るタイミングでエンジンを空ぶかしした。見事に引っかかったよ。
トラップってことかにゃ。
ああいうことがとっさにできるっていうのは特殊な訓練を受けてるからだ。じゃなきゃ無理。
Suzuha glared in the direction the bike disappeared and started to think. Who was it? CERN? There was an unofficial CERN group, the Rounders, that were searching for IBN 5100s in Akihabara. Okabe Rintaro had told her that, but he'd only encountered them in another world line.
誰かはわからないけど、私たちの他にタイムマシンのことを知ってる奴がいるのは間違いない。
Was it that they knew about it, but they weren't going to do anything more? Or did they intend to steal the time machine from her? Since she didn't know, she had to assume the worst, or she wouldn't be prepared to deal with it. She looked up to the sky and sighed. It was becoming a bad habit.
ねえ、ルミ姉さん。このことは、オカリンおじさんには内密にしておいて。
なんで？
今のオカリンおじさんが知ったら、タイムマシンを破壊しろって言いかねない。危険だからって。でしょ？
そうにゃけど。
私は絶対にマシンを守るよ。シュタインズゲートの入り口へ、オカリンおじさんを連れて行かなきゃいけないんだから。それが未来の父さんとの、私をここに送り出してくれた人たちみんなとの約束だからさ。
スズニャ。わかったにゃ。その代わりダルニャにだけはちゃんと話しておくこと。
オーキードーキー。
At least you can't see it from the street. That's nice. You know how you could in the other world line where it crashed into the building? The last part was almost a whisper as her words melted into Akihabara's sky. I was thinking about that. I was like, didn't it crash into the building? But that must have just been because it was on the other world line. Alright, well, I think we're going to stop here. We will pick up with Maho next time. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. It is interesting to see things, I think, from other perspectives. I think that's going to be a good thing about this. Is while everything was kind of from Okarin's perspective before, and I think that did create a neat effect, it is kind of nice to get an expanded perspective. Because that was the cool thing I remembered about the Steins Gate movie that came out, was that it talked a lot about Kurisu, which is something that we only really ever saw Kurisu from Okarin's eyes, so you got to see Kurisu from her own perspective, if that makes sense. So in the same way, we're seeing a lot of things from other people's perspectives. It's kind of cool. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!